Hey, Cowboys Nation. This is Cowboys Wire News, your home for breaking news, smart analysis, rumors, and film room insights. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a snap. Let's talk America's team. The NFL world is buzzing with whispers that the Dallas Cowboys have officially secured Patrick Surtain II as their #1 cornerback, and fans are already speculating how this move will reshape the team's elite secondary. Surtain, widely regarded as one of the most promising young defensive backs in recent memory, has generated hype since his college days, but the rumor of him stepping into the CB1 role for Dallas seems to have taken the speculation to another level entirely. Analysts are pointing to his impressive coverage skills, his ability to read quarterbacks before the snap, and his physicality in man-to-man situations as indicators that he could seamlessly slide into a leadership role in the Cowboys' defensive backfield. The chatter among insiders suggests that his presence could allow other corners and safeties more freedom to play aggressive schemes, potentially transforming Dallas' defensive identity. Fans on social media are already debating how Surtain will pair with the existing roster, and many are drawing comparisons to elite cornerback tandems from the league's top franchises. Every practice report, every offseason photo, every single tweet seems to fuel the notion that Dallas is quietly assembling a secondary that could dominate for years. Speculation is rampant about how this signing might affect matchups against elite wide receivers across the NFC, and the narrative is only getting louder. Rumors have started to circulate that Patrick Surtain II's transition to CB1 is not just a strategic defensive move, but also a cultural one for the Cowboys. Sources suggest that Surtain's leadership qualities off the field are nearly as impactful as his on-field performance, and coaches reportedly view him as someone who can mentor younger cornerbacks while also holding his own against the league's top pass catchers. The idea floating around is that his presence could spark a renaissance for Dallas' defensive philosophy, allowing them to take more risks in coverage knowing they have a shutdown corner capable of neutralizing the opposing team's #1 threat. Speculation is swirling around whether this move is signaling a shift in how the Cowboys approach the draft and free agency in the coming years, especially regarding defensive backs. Some insiders are hinting that the front office might be looking to build a secondary that can consistently compete with elite NFC West and East wideouts, creating a domino effect that could influence multiple roster decisions. Social media is filled with bold projections, with fans creating highlight reels, mock matchups, and theoretical coverage schemes that place Surtain in positions to single-handedly dictate the flow of a game. The narrative, though unofficial, is gaining momentum with each passing report, making the Cowboys' defensive backfield one of the most discussed topics in football circles. The rumors paint a picture of an organization quietly redefining its defensive identity with Surtain as the centerpiece, potentially setting the stage for a dominant era. Industry insiders are whispering that Patrick Surtain II's emergence as the Cowboys' CB1 could have ripple effects throughout the league, influencing how offenses plan their passing attacks. Teams that typically rely on high-powered wide receivers are reportedly reassessing their game plans, anticipating that Surtain's elite coverage ability will disrupt timing routes, challenge deep balls, and force quarterbacks to make quicker decisions under pressure. According to the sources fueling these rumors, Dallas may be preparing to implement more complex zone schemes and disguise coverages, relying on Surtain's instincts to adjust mid-play and cover critical areas without assistance. The chatter among analysts emphasizes that the mere presence of a shutdown corner like Surtain can psychologically alter the way opposing offenses approach the field, with quarterbacks potentially avoiding his side entirely or hesitating before throwing into tight windows. Fan forums are lighting up with speculation about how this addition might elevate the entire defensive unit, creating a domino effect where linebackers and safeties benefit from Surtain's ability to take away top targets. Even practice reports are being dissected, with every shadow coverage and press technique feeding the narrative that the Cowboys' secondary is about to become one of the most feared units in football. The rumor mill suggests that Surtain's integration could not only improve immediate results, but also attract future defensive talent to Dallas, solidifying a legacy that goes beyond individual performance. In this swirling atmosphere of speculation, every piece of news, no matter how minor, is being interpreted as a sign that the Cowboys are quietly building something special. Sources close to the Cowboys are hinting that Patrick Surtain's role as CB1 is already influencing the off-season training structure, with cornerbacks reportedly running more specialized drills tailored to complement his style of play. Insiders suggest that defensive coordinators are experimenting with hybrid formations, testing how Surtain can cover both elite receivers and tight ends while still allowing safeties to roam freely. The rumors indicate that his physicality, speed, and intelligence make him uniquely capable of handling a variety of coverage responsibilities, giving Dallas flexibility rarely seen in the modern NFL. Fans have started dissecting film from college and early NFL seasons, trying to predict how his skill set will mesh with current Cowboys schemes, fueling a sense of excitement and anticipation. Social media chatter suggests that rival teams are preparing counter-strategies, fearing that Surtain could force game-altering adjustments simply by being on the field. Reports even hint that coaches are treating him as a blueprint for defensive philosophy going forward, seeing him as both a tactical weapon and a standard for professionalism in practice and preparation. Rumors are also hinting at Surtain's influence in the locker room, with teammates possibly rallying around his work ethic and competitive mentality, creating an environment where young defensive backs can flourish. Every nugget of speculation reinforces the idea that Dallas may not just have acquired a top cornerback, but a transformative figure capable of redefining how their secondary operates. Analysts are framing this as more than a single signing. It's the start of a narrative that could redefine the team's defensive legacy. The rumor mill is also abuzz with discussions about how Patrick Surtain's potential as CB1 might affect the Cowboys' broader strategy in the NFC East, particularly when facing pass-heavy teams. Sources indicate that coaches are considering matchups where Surtain's presence could allow Dallas to load the box or blitz more aggressively, knowing that the secondary has a shutdown corner capable of neutralizing threats. Insider whispers suggest that this flexibility is creating excitement within the team, with young defenders reportedly thriving in practice scenarios designed around Surtain's coverage abilities. Analysts are speculating that quarterbacks will need to alter their pre-snap reads, timing, and routes when Surtain is on the field, leading to a cascade of strategic implications that could ripple throughout the league. Fans have been building their own highlight reels, projecting hypothetical scenarios where Surtain locks down elite receivers, leading to turnovers and critical stops. Even unofficial chatter from sports radio shows and podcasts is fueling the narrative, painting a picture of a Cowboys secondary that may soon rival historically dominant units in terms of skill, versatility, and intimidation factor. The rumors portray a team quietly evolving behind the scenes, where defensive scheming is increasingly centered around Surtain's strengths, highlighting his potential as a transformational player. Every report, no matter how small or speculative, is being interpreted as evidence that Dallas is intentionally crafting a defensive identity anchored by his talent. The narrative suggests that Surtain is not just filling a role, but is set to redefine expectations for cornerbacks in the modern NFL, elevating both his team and the position itself. Fans and commentators alike are fueling a growing sense of anticipation that Patrick Surtain's ascension to CB1 could mark a turning point for the Cowboys' defensive identity. Sources indicate that this move is being quietly celebrated within the organization as a strategic masterstroke, giving Dallas both a psychological and tactical advantage over NFC opponents. The rumor mill suggests that Surtain's presence will enable a more aggressive approach, where corners and safeties are confident in executing complex coverage schemes while trusting him to neutralize the opposition's primary threat. Analysts have started projecting scenarios where his coverage skills lead directly to interceptions, forced incompletions, and critical third-down stops, emphasizing the transformative potential of his role. Even casual fans have joined the conversation, dissecting film, debating matchups, and speculating on how his emergence might influence draft priorities and free agency strategies. The speculation is so pervasive that minor social media interactions, off-season tweets, and training camp reports are being magnified into evidence of a defensive renaissance. Coaches are reportedly viewing Surtain as a blueprint for future personnel decisions, aiming to surround him with complementary talent to maximize his impact. The whispers, rumors, and speculative projections all point toward a single narrative: The Cowboys secondary is on the verge of entering elite territory, with Surtain at its center, potentially reshaping the perception and strategy of the entire franchise for years to come. The speculation surrounding Patrick Surtain II as the Cowboys CB1 continues to grow, with insiders hinting that his impact could extend far beyond typical coverage responsibilities. Rumors suggest that Dallas coaches are increasingly designing defensive plays around his unique skill set, emphasizing versatility, anticipation, and the ability to shut down entire routes single-handedly. Analysts are whispering that this approach could force opposing quarterbacks to hesitate, misread coverages, or even avoid throwing to the side of the field certain patrols, creating an almost psychological advantage for the Cowboys. Fans are dissecting every available snap of his previous games, constructing hypothetical scenarios in which his presence alters offensive strategies, shifts the balance of the field, and leads to critical turnovers. Social media discussions highlight potential matchups against league-wide top receivers, and debates have emerged about whether Surtain's rise to CB1 could spark a ripple effect across other defensive positions, from safeties to linebackers. Rumors also hint that coaches are encouraging younger cornerbacks to model their techniques after him, which could instill a culture of elite defensive play within the team. Every small report, from training camp shadows to offhand comments and interviews, is being interpreted as confirmation that the Cowboys secondary is quietly being molded into one of the NFL's most feared units. The narrative is gaining momentum, suggesting that Surtain's role is more than positional. It is the cornerstone of a defensive revolution in Dallas. Before we roll on, subscribe to Cowboys Wire News, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Your support keeps the Dallas Cowboys updates coming. Tell us what you think in the comments. Whispers from league insiders indicate that Patrick Surtain II's CB1 role might also influence the Cowboys' approach to personnel and free agency decisions in the coming seasons. Rumor has it that management is keenly aware of the long-term value of an elite cornerback and could be adjusting scouting priorities to find complementary defensive backs who maximize Surtain's coverage dominance. Analysts are speculating that the Cowboys could adopt a more aggressive and creative defensive philosophy, knowing they have a shutdown corner capable of neutralizing the league's most dangerous receivers. Social media chatter and fan forums are filled with hypotheticals, where Surtain not only shuts down top targets, but also creates opportunities for sacks, interceptions, and game-changing plays. Reports suggest that rival teams are already planning counter strategies, adjusting routes, and avoiding matchups that put their top wideouts against him. Rumors hint that coaches may even tweak in-game communication signals and coverage rotations around Surtain's ability to read quarterbacks and anticipate plays. The narrative portrays a cornerback whose mere presence could alter offensive schematics across the NFC, forcing quarterbacks to rethink timing, route choices, and pre-snap reads. Every unofficial report, every insider comment, and every fan analysis seems to feed the growing legend that Surtain isn't just a player, but a strategic weapon. The speculation paints a picture of a Cowboys secondary on the brink of entering elite status, with Surtain as its defining force, reshaping both perception and performance for years to come. Industry chatter is increasingly fixated on Patrick Surtain II's potential influence over the Cowboys' defensive identity, suggesting that his arrival as CB1 could inspire a more aggressive, confident approach across the roster. Rumors claim that the defensive staff is experimenting with shadow coverages, mixed zone schemes, and disguised alignments designed to exploit Surtain's instincts and physicality. Analysts are speculating that his ability to track and anticipate top receivers allows linebackers and safeties to play more freely, creating opportunities for interceptions, pressures, and crucial stops. Fans are dissecting clips from training and past games, hypothesizing how his skill set could neutralize elite wideouts in high-stakes matchups. The rumor mill also suggests that his leadership off the field may be just as significant, mentoring younger players and instilling a culture of preparation, discipline, and confidence. Reports indicate that coaches see him as a blueprint for a modern cornerback, capable of dictating coverage responsibilities while remaining a tactical linchpin. Social media is ablaze with discussions about how his emergence might change the narrative around the Cowboys' defensive reputation, potentially positioning them among the league's elite units. Every hint, report, or speculation reinforces the perception that Dallas is quietly orchestrating a defensive evolution around SURTAIN's talent. The narrative suggests that CB1 is not just a position designation, but the foundation of a potentially historic era for the team's secondary, transforming both strategy and perception league-wide. That's a wrap from Cowboys Wire News. For breaking Cowboys updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Tell us your take in the comments.